Chelsea's Russian owner, Roman Abramovich, has put up the Premier League club for sale, saying proceeds from any deal will be donated to war victims in Ukraine. Russia's invasion of the country has complicated the billionaire's ownership of the team. The 55-year-old is alleged to have strong ties to the Russian president, which he has denied. While other Russian billionaires have already been subject of European Union sanctions, where their assets have so far been frozen.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what he's trying to do, yeah. Which I think we've just been talking about, we maybe disagree with. Obviously, lots of people have their assets frozen, so it's whether or not he should have his done before he's able to sell the club. Obviously, that would be very damaging to the Premier League and Chelsea Football Club, so it's a big decision.
I think he's worried about losing his assets. Genuinely, I think any businessman would probably look at the situation if someone else was in his shoes, may well look at the same thing and go, well, am I going to lose my prize asset, which is Chelsea Football Club?
Everyone will remember him as a legend at this club. He put us on the map. He's brought so many trophies. He won everything with him. Without him, probably wouldn't have happened. Nothing, no one can say a bad word about him. He's just literally come over and taken us to the next level.
Like I said, he's saying he will give the money to the victims in Ukraine, but maybe it's a small part of the money, and the rest of the money he will get for himself. So we have to wait and see what he's doing in the next years. And what you said, maybe it will take 4 or 5 years for selling this club, and hopefully the war's over in that time.
And for more on both stories, we can now cross live to London and speak to Arise correspondent Lape Olarinoye. Lape, thank you so much for being here. And of course, let's start with that decision of Roman Abramovich to actually sell Chelsea, a club which he's actually had since 2003. Tell us more about the reason behind this.
Hi, good evening to you, Amaka. It's been, of course, as a result of mounting pressure following the turmoil and the conflict that's happening between Russia and Ukraine. We have seen a growing number, especially in the UK, of Russian individuals having their assets allegedly frozen. Many Russian individuals are said to have been sanctioned, along with Russian banks and Russian businesses. Now, Roman Abramovich, of course, like you've rightly said, has owned Chelsea Football Club for a total of 19 years, has also come under pressure and under speculation as to his relationship with Russia and the Kremlin. And so, of course, it seems as if it's a preemptive measure to avoid himself being the next on the list, really. The Prime Minister last week misspoke and said that Roman Abramovich is one of those individuals who will be having his assets frozen, and then quickly retracted and said actually he won't be. But today, there have been more calls, particularly from the opposition party led by Keir Starmer, who has urged the Prime Minister to put him on that list of individuals who will be sanctioned and have their assets frozen. So it seems as though Roman Abramovich is acting ahead of any kind of a freezing of assets and instead has sold his beloved Chelsea Football Club.
And of course, we're being told that that's not the only thing he's selling, because some of his properties as well are up for sale. And information reaching us says maybe in 10 days that sales of Chelsea could go through. But, you know, let's talk a little bit about that controversy, about his links to the Russian President Vladimir Putin. Do we know really what these links are?
Well, Amaka, a lot of it are still allegations. I mean, there's a lot flying around. The ones that are actually factual are, for example, he was once a Russian governor of a region in Russia, and he's allegedly had relationships, very close ties to former Russian President Boris Yeltsin. But there seems to be many claims which haven't actually been factually corrected that he is also a close friend of President Vladimir Putin, and that he has close ties to the Kremlin more than we think he does. There's also another allegation flying around, which of course hasn't been checked, is that he actually owns shares in a supposed arms company that is also selling military weapons to the Russian army. So there seems to be a lot of relationships or allegations of relationship between Roman Abramovich as well as the Kremlin and of course President Putin. But actually, a lot of them still remain speculation, and they haven't actually been factual. But what is really concerning is the fact that Roman Abramovich, along with other Russian oligarchs, hasn't actually come out publicly to denounce what President Putin is doing in Ukraine, hasn't condemned the war and the invasion of Ukraine, and actually hasn't said much about it, other than the fact that he has stated that the net profit from the sale of Chelsea Football Club can be given to Ukrainian charities. Whether or not that means that he's not on the side of President Putin, of course, is still up in the air. But actually, he is one person that hasn't come out to criticize what the Russian government is doing, unlike many other Russians who have said that they aren't in support. So that is really where some of these speculation and allegations are really coming from.
Right, and Lape, let's move on to the Paralympics. That sudden U-turn banning Russian and Belarusian athletes just 24 hours after they were admitted as neutrals. Lape, what happened here?
Well, unlike other sporting fields, the Paralympics, which is meant to be taking place, they made a complete U-turn today and actually not allowed the Russian and Belarusian athletes to essentially compete as neutral players. They've actually said instead they have to compete. They cannot compete anymore. And of course, once again, it's because of this mounting pressure that we're seeing globally, and of course, this united front that the West is having against Russia following the invasion of Ukraine. Of course, it's no surprise because other sporting industries, like I say, the football, the tennis, boxing, as well as even Formula One, have all had a unified front on dealing with this. And so, of course, it was only right, in a way, that the IPC too followed suit.
Lape Olarinoye there in the UK for your in-depth analysis. I say thank you.